Yo, listen up. You won't believe this story. It's been over 25 years since I last saw my hometown. 25 years, 5 months, and 12 days to be exact. I bolted out of there when I was 26, a broken man, the day after my life as I knew it blew up in my face. That was the day my wife, after 3 years, dropped the bomb that she was pregnant. Problem was, the kid wasn't mine. It was hers, all right, and her boss's. The instant she said pregnant, a cold dread washed over me. She wasn't even trying to hide it. The guilt just radiated off her. We were young, struggling artists in a city that chews you up and spits you out. Money was tight, so I took this short-term gig on a cargo ship running up and down the Hudson. Big bucks for a young guy, but it meant being gone for 6 to 8 weeks, turned out to be 9. We told ourselves it was worth it. Those 2 months' pay would be more than I'd made in 4 at my dead-end bookstore job. We were young, stupidly in love, thought we could handle anything. Turns out, my wife, let's call her Deborah, lasted about 2 weeks before she started playing mattress mambo with her boss, Richard Harding. He owned a swanky art gallery downtown, and she was one of his assistants. Turns out she was assistant number 3 to get the special treatment. And Harding, this guy was connected in our small town upstate. Deborah confronted him, face to face, all righteous fury, and he just smirked, like it was the funniest thing he'd ever heard. "What are you gonna do, Deborah? Ruin me? Sue? Honey, I'm not married. The local DA is practically family. You don't have 2 dimes to rub together for a lawyer." He tossed her $1,000, called it severance, and canned her the next day. By the time I finally got back to town 2 weeks later, Deborah was slinging hash at a diner on Main Street graveyard shift. She spilled the whole story, remorse dripping from every word, thick enough to choke on. Almost believable, if I hadn't known better. 15 solid minutes of apologies, then bam, she's suggesting we use my hard-earned cash, my 12 grand and change, to sue Harding. "We can fix this, Tony. It didn't mean anything, I was just lonely, blah, blah, blah." Incoherent rambling while I stood there, stone-faced, trying to process the sheer betrayal. Didn't mean anything. Probably meant a couple dozen romps with Harding while I was busting my hump on that rust bucket. I just laughed. A harsh, bitter sound that echoed in the tiny apartment. Right in her tear-streaked face. Turned away, started throwing my stuff in a duffel bag. Laundry could wait. Packed my life into a bag and left. Cell phones were still kinda pricey back then, late 90s. No easy way for her to track me. Never saw her again. Never heard a peep. Yeah, I was pissed, hurt, humiliated, completely shattered. Wanted to see them both burn. But I was young, clueless. Didn't have a clue how to even start getting revenge. Parents were gone. Sister lived in Queens. Nothing tying me to that picturesque little town anymore. Took one more cargo run. Scraped together enough for a beat-up pickup. Pointed it west. Spent the next 2 decades carving out a new life, piece by painful piece. Landed a gig as an accountant for a small firm in Denver for 3 years. Put myself through night school. Got my finance degree. Single life. Nothing but time to study. Finished in just over 2 years. Never bothered to find out if Deborah ever divorced me. Figured she probably did. Didn't really care. Degree in hand. Some savings in the bank. Kept heading west. Finally settled in Bend, Oregon. Didn't know a soul, but it looked like a clean slate. Golf and mountain biking in the summers, skiing in the winters. Perfect escape. Figured the chances of anyone from my old upstate town ending up in Bend were slim to none. Real fresh start. Opened a small investment brokerage. 10 years later, I had 3 junior partners, a solid team, and was pulling in close to $200,000 a year. Life was good. Damn good. Made friends, dated, played the field. But Deborah's betrayal, that scar ran deep. Marriage? Serious commitment? Never even considered it. Colleagues asked why I was a bachelor for life. I'd just shrug. Not for me. Over the years, Deborah would pop into my head now and then. Impossible to completely erase 5 years of your life. 2 dating, 3 married. 5 years I honestly thought she was the one. Then, boom, boss, baby, betrayal. Didn't want the bitterness to eat me alive. Focused on the positive, tried to be a decent human being, generous to those around me. So, despite a good life, mostly leaving the past buried, here I am, on a flight from Portland to St. Louis, connecting to Albany. Why Albany? Well, turns out I had a long-lost uncle on my mom's side who recently kicked the bucket and left me a modest inheritance. His lawyer tracked me down in Bend. We talked on the phone, paperwork back and forth, could have handled everything remotely, but why not one last trip to the old stomping grounds? 51 years old, a completely different guy, embarking on a bizarre trip down memory lane. Always been a bit of a cheapskate, but inheriting around $40,000, I decided to splurge. First-class ticket. Settling into my seat, I see this stunning young woman next to me. Looked maybe 25. Tabitha. Visiting friends in Bend. Birthday trip courtesy of her mom. 25th birthday bash. By the time we were cruising over Nebraska, we were chatting like old pals. Tabitha's mom, single when Tabitha was born, remarried when Tabitha was about 2, some high school teacher. Teacher turned out to be a creep. Inappropriate with students. Fired. Jail time. Tabitha was 12. Mom remarried again, this time a local businessman. Nice house, good schools. Then Tabitha went off to Syracuse. 6 years back, Mom caught husband number 2 with his secretary, divorce number 2. Mom decided to stay single after that. Wine flowed, conversation deepened. Tabitha explained her mom, loved her to pieces, but a little out there. Definitely had a thing for the wrong kind of guys, hadn't exactly taught Tabitha about healthy relationships. But as we talked, I noticed something in her eyes, something familiar, intrigued me. Couldn't quite place it, just let it slide. She asked about my past. I gave her the Reader's Digest version, skipped the whole Deborah saga. Didn't want to unload that baggage on a woman half my age I'd just met on a plane. Seemed satisfied with what I shared. Didn't push for more. Kansas City coming up, about an hour left in the flight. It hit me. Tabitha had serious daddy issues. Couple glasses of wine in. She was leaning in way too close. Definitely flirting. Asked about a wedding ring. The look in her eyes. She was wondering if she could reel me in. Honestly, I was lapping up the attention. Fit for my age, reasonably charming. But what 25-year-old would be genuinely interested in a guy old enough to be her father? Then Tabitha made it crystal clear. Hand now on my arm, voice all honey and spice. Got a couple days off before I have to get back to the grind. Maybe a little detour to Albany. Surprise my mom, show you my old haunts. sexual undertone, subtle as a sledgehammer. I may be rugged, but I ain't stupid. Landed in St. Louis, bought Tabitha a ticket from St. Louis to Albany, made sure she was seated right next to me. Small puddle jumper, no first class, 40-minute flight. Cabin lights dimmed, night sky outside. Tabitha leaned over and kissed me. Not just a peck, a full-on, smoldering electric kiss. Hands started exploring, and let's just say my soldier was ready for duty. Tabitha smiled, voice soft in my ear, purring. Oh, Daddy's got a serious problem. Need some help? I whispered back. Keep misbehaving, young lady, and you'll get a spanking when we get there. Her breath hitched. I certainly hope so. Landed 20 minutes later, felt like an eternity. Rented a cozy little cabin on Airbnb overlooking the Hudson just outside of town. Too late to call her mom, and neither of us was in the mood to say goodnight. Tabitha stayed. Mom visit tomorrow, lawyer meeting for me. Agreed. Mom meeting was definitely off the table. Tabitha didn't think her mom would completely lose it over a fling with an older guy, but discretion was definitely the smarter play. Back at the cabin, I gently backed Tabitha against the wall, hands above her head, one hand holding hers, the other tracing the line of her shoulder. Her blouse slipped a little as I moved closer, our breaths mingling in the quiet room. Lips met. Kiss deepened, a natural fire igniting between us. Helped her adjust her blouse, fingers brushing against her skin, she let out a soft sigh. Broke the kiss, insisted on a shower. After 7 hours of travel, gotta freshen up. Good point. Offered to scrub her back, playful grin. Gotta be patient, Daddy. Gotta get ready to make Daddy happy. Damn this woman. Was I going to survive the night? Let her take the master bathroom, deep soaking tub. Quick shower in the guest bathroom for me. Then I stretched out on the bed, waiting. Tabitha did not disappoint. Emerged from the bathroom in something casual but undeniably sexy, confident energy lighting up the room. Leaning against the doorframe, she teased, "Traveled all day. Think you can handle a little fun before we crash?" I chuckled, loving her playful vibe. "Think I can manage." She came closer, caressed me. The sensation so intense I thought I might spontaneously combust. Happiest 51-year-old on the planet. For the next 2 hours, we made love like there was no tomorrow. By the time we were done, we were both blissed out, tangled in the sheets. As I drifted off to sleep with Tabitha in my arms, I knew she probably had some serious daddy issues to work through. But like I said, rugged, not stupid. Hoped this incredible young woman would find her way in life. But for now, my body and soul were overflowing with happiness, glad, damn glad I gave as good as I got. Woke up, showered together, intimate and playful start to the morning. Grabbed breakfast at a local diner. Saturday, Mom wouldn't be at her gallery job, so Tabitha decided to call her after breakfast. Mr. Harrison, the lawyer handling my uncle's estate, had agreed to meet me at 10 o'clock a.m. on Saturday. Quick meeting, hour tops, $5,000 to finalize everything. Tabitha and I planned to meet up later for drinks and dinner. She told her mom she was meeting a guy, kept it vague. Mentioned a restaurant where we could meet. Suggested I try to snag a reservation. Probably be packed. Afterward, back to the cabin for the night. Then I'd head back to the airport in the morning. She'd stay and visit her mom. Offered to buy her a ticket back to St. Louis. but she thought her mom might want to take Monday off and drive her back instead. Plan in place. Parting ways, Tabitha leaned in, gentle kiss. "Can't wait to see you tonight, Daddy." Damn, I thought to myself. Good thing this is just a weekend fling, or I might never make it back to Bend. Used my phone to find Harrison's office, right in the heart of the shopping district downtown. Found a parking spot around the corner, walked into his office, right on time. 10 Ontia, a.m. sharp. Harrison was waiting, all smiles and firm handshakes. Few minutes of small talk, life, the universe, everything. Asked about my family history. Mentioned I'd lived here years ago, kept the Deborah details buried deep. Got down to business, straightforward as could be. Uncle's will was clean, avoided a lot of red tape. Harrison took my driver's license, made some copies, then read the will aloud. Finished up, handed me a check for $4,765. Final pleasantries exchanged, I walked out, heading back to my car. Turned the corner and froze. Block away Tabitha, with an older woman. Had to be her mother. Chatting, laughing, completely oblivious to the world around them. Didn't even notice me. I stood there, rooted to the spot, staring at my ex-wife, Deborah. Hadn't seen her in 25 years, and yeah, she looked older, lines around her eyes, but I'd recognize her anywhere. Suddenly, it hit me. Why Tabitha's eyes had seemed so familiar. They were Deborah's eyes. They crossed the street, about half a block from me, still deep in conversation, and walked into a clothing boutique. Damn. I'd just slept with my ex-wife's daughter. Every emotion I'd buried for 25 years came crashing back. Cold sweat broke out all over my body. Hands started shaking. The woman who'd betrayed my deepest love, who'd stolen my future, was right there, in that damn clothing store across the street, completely clueless. The pain, raw and visceral, slammed into me. And then, out of nowhere, I started to laugh. Quietly at first, then louder. Remembered all those sleepless nights, racking my brain for ways to make Deborah and Harding pay. Year after settling in Bend, I'd finally let it go. Realized I'd never get even. Whatever happened to that cheating adulteress, it would happen without me. I wasn't going to let her define the rest of my life. The more I thought about it, the harder I laughed. Couple people on the street probably wondered what the hell was so funny. Leaned against my car, catching my breath, still chuckling. But then I realized the laughter wasn't relief. It was dark, almost sinister. It hit me. I wasn't going to be noble or kind to Deborah. Sure, I hadn't planned to stir up the past, but now I was going to savor this. A more mature guy, a genuinely good guy, might have let it slide. Enough time had passed. Bygones be bygones. Not me. Revenge. This was my moment. Didn't want to hurt Tabitha in the process, but avoiding that might be impossible. I'd try to be gentle with her. She wasn't to blame for any of this. Still, I was going to enjoy delivering a small dose of payback to my dear ex-wife. Crossed the street, waited a few doors down from the clothing store, waited for them to come out. When they did, I started walking towards them. The next 5 minutes? Definitely not Hallmark material, but oh my God, it was going to be epic. Tabitha! Hey! Tabitha! I called out, waving. Saw her glance up, looking a little confused, maybe flustered. We'd agreed no mom meeting. Her face showed a mix of surprise and slight apprehension. Deborah looked at me like anyone would look at a stranger who seemed to know their kid. As I got closer, smiling, Deborah's expression shifted. Curiosity to confusion, then recognition, then pure, unadulterated shock, all in rapid succession. Her hand flew to her mouth, eyes wide. Oh my God. Tony? Now it was Tabitha's turn to look completely lost, embarrassed. Mom, you know him? Before Deborah could even stammer a reply, I jumped in. Hi, Deborah. Long time no see. Oh, it felt so damn good to say that. Tony, what are you doing here? I mean, why are you here? And how do you know my daughter? Deborah was a mess of confusion. Mom, you know Tony. Tony, you know my mom? What the hell is going on? They were both utterly bewildered. Well, ladies, let me try to explain. I began, voice smooth as silk, but with a razor's edge underneath. Tabitha, I'll start with you. Until about 5 minutes ago, I had absolutely no idea that my deceitful ex-wife was your mother. We didn't exactly swap family histories last night on the plane, but yes, Deborah and I were married here many, many years ago. Deborah whispered, barely audible. No. Yes, I said, ignoring her. All right, I'll continue. You see, Tabitha, your mom was my first love, my only true love, actually. We were young, broke, but madly in love. Trying to make ends meet, I took a job on a cargo ship, gone for almost 9 weeks. Before I left, we promised each other it would be tough, but our love was strong. We could handle anything. Every single day on that ship, for 2 long months, all I thought about was Deborah, getting back to her. I was so excited when I finally got my paycheck, headed home. We could finally start our real life together. Imagine my surprise when my loving, caring wife, who'd sworn her loyalty to me, told me she was pregnant with another man's child. As we talked, it became clear she'd waited all of about 2 weeks before sleeping with her boss, your father, Richard Harding. At those words, both women gasped, air hissing between their teeth. Oops, I continued, a cruel smile playing on my lips. Deborah, you never told your daughter about her real father. What a shame. Maybe that's why she has those unresolved issues that seem to surface in certain situations. I thought Deborah was actually going to faint this time. Anyway, sweetheart, I said, turning back to Tabitha, your mommy completely destroyed me and our future in just a few short weeks by sleeping with her boss. In the end, he gave her $1,000 to shut up and disappear, which obviously she didn't do since she kept seeing him. I left town emotionally bankrupt, and it took me nearly 5 years to just get back on my feet, start rebuilding my life. So that should answer your question, Tabitha. I shifted my gaze to Deborah. Now, Deborah, let me answer yours. I came back to town because I had an uncle who passed away and left me a modest inheritance. I decided to return, see my hometown one last time while wrapping up the estate. Had no idea you still lived here, and wasn't exactly planning on looking for you. Why would I want to reconnect with someone who didn't give a damn about me or my love? Anyway, on the plane I was seated next to a beautiful young woman who introduced herself as Tabitha. We chatted over a few glasses of wine, genuinely enjoyed getting to know each other. Neither of us mentioned your name, and I had absolutely no clue who her mother was. However, as I said, we had a great time and truly enjoyed each other's company. I suppose part of that might stem from her still searching for a loving father figure. I paused for dramatic effect. So, that evening, we flew into Albany, and she joined me for a night of unforgettable intimacy. I mean, truly incredible. Can't recall you ever bringing that level of excitement or enthusiasm to our marriage, Deborah. Not sure exactly how many times it happened, but I'd say no fewer than 8. Don't know how good it was for Tabitha, but I gave it my all, and even at my age, I'm confident I gave her a great deal of joy. By the way, Deborah, do you know how much your little girl enjoys being cared for in certain ways? I also think you should be very proud, because I don't think I've ever had such amazing moments as the ones she gave me. Tabitha was beet red, face tight with anger. Deborah was completely shattered, tears streaming down her face, mascara running in black streaks. I was almost finished, savoring every second. I turned to Tabitha, softening my tone slightly, but not too much. Tabitha, I'm sorry you're hurt and angry right now, and I don't blame you, but you have no idea what real pain feels like. Turns out, I hurt you a little. I could have seen your unfaithful mother turned around and walked away, but I'm just not that kind of guy. And in many ways, you can thank that woman you call Mom for that. Just know that I'll never bring this up again, and I hold no hostility toward you personally. I hope you have a great life, Tabitha. And if you ever find yourself in a bind, need a friend, I'll be there for you. No strings attached. You're a wonderful young woman, and I'm truly sorry you got caught in the crossfire of all this. That being said, I added, glancing back at Deborah, I'd still be happy to have dinner with you this evening, Tabitha, with no expectations of anything physical. Tabitha's furious expression softened, just a fraction. Deborah, I said, turning back to her, your tears and pain are strangely therapeutic for me. I never thought I'd have a chance to show you even a fraction of the depth of the pain you caused me. I could never in a million years have come up with a plan this twisted, this perfect. But now that I'm here, I want you to understand. I see the horror in your eyes now. Maybe you have a tiny, tiny sense of what you did to me all those years ago. I can see it on your face, and I know it hurts like hell. Your little girl is a wonderful young woman, and she's incredibly special. I hope the image of me cherishing her last night stays with you forever. Goodbye, Deborah. I turned and walked away, feeling lighter than I had in decades. The weight of the past finally lifted. Deborah's choked sobs echoed behind me, a sweet, sweet symphony to my ears. Later that day, my phone rang. "Daddy, are you still meeting me for dinner?" Tabitha asked, her voice playful, almost teasing. "I've been so naughty, yelling at my mother, and I need to make amends.